let's close things out with a little discussion about a Penguins legend, that has found himself at the top of headlines a lot over the calendar year of 2024. I mean, the year started with Jagr mania starting to kick back up in Pittsburgh, the jersey retirement ceremony, the bobblehead fiasco, him coming to Pittsburgh on multiple occasions and eating PPG Paints Arena out of ice cream at the suite level. All of that combined with the fact that this past week he has had multiple stories come out about him. He is expected first and foremost to retire from professional hockey at the conclusion of this season that he's playing with the Kladno Knights. Now, that is per Bleacher Report first, and then by Rob Rossi of The Athletic, who also reported that. Again, expected to doesn't mean he's going to, because we all know Jaromir Jagr and his infinite wisdom always continues to play hockey further than any of us ever expected. So, first story of the week, Jagr expected to retire. I know your initial thought was skepticism. Are you still skeptic after about a week and a couple of different stories that have come out?
I will still believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
For one.
I think that's what Evgeny Malkin said too. I think, okay, we'll see what happens, right? It's Jagr. We know that he could just be like, you know what? I own the team. It's not like they're going to cut me. So maybe I do want to play another season.
Fun weekend for Malkin too. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it, but also between I believe Bleacher Report said it was his agent that started it. Rob Rossi followed it up. And then if you look at, I think it was Kladno's Instagram. If you look at Jagr's Instagram, it's, first of all, an incredible place. But also there were some hints of, there was one photo, I forget who put it out on Instagram first, but it ended up on Jagr's account. And there's a little, he's like getting onto a subway and there's a little like piece of paper on the ground that says the last ride or something like that. So I think that's the one that really started pushing me in the direction of, oh, this might be it, because that sort of note can do a lot. Yes, this little thing says, little piece of paper outside the subway, 68 last dance. So something to be said about that to watch for and keep an eye on. If I'll still believe it when I see it, but it looks like signs are pointing to this will be it.
Yeah, I mean, Jagr is 52 years old. Now, he is in better shape than most 52 years old. I'd be cautious to say, but also feel pretty confident in saying he's probably in better shape than 98% of other 52-year-olds, but he's playing in his 37th pro season. We talk about Sidney Crosby at 37, being able to still do it at the age of 37. Jagr is playing 37 years in professional hockey. It's ridiculous. I mean, 2 Stanley Cup championships, both with the Penguins, 5-time Art Ross Trophy winner, all with the Penguins, 1998-99 Hart Trophy winner as a member of the Penguins. And on top of that, 8-time All-Star, 3-time Lester B. Pearson Award winner, Masterton Trophy winner, 2nd all-time in points, 4th all-time in goals, and 1 Mid-Atlantic Regional Emmy Award for his producer role on his jersey retirement ceremony. So adding it to the accolades, that is the second piece of news about Jaromir Jagr this past week, is that he is now an Emmy winner for his role in his own jersey retirement ceremony.
I don't know how many like Emmy trophies they hand out per award. I don't know if it is just one or if like kind of the whole crew gets something. I hope, because the Penguins and their video crew have plenty of Emmys, I hope they sent that singular Emmy to Jagr just to add to that trophy case.
I think multiple people get the Emmys. Anybody that is listed whenever the award comes out gets an Emmy award. So I hope they don't send it to Jagr. I hope they just call him, say, hey, we're just going to put it in your old house.
Yep.
Alongside all your other trophies, we're just going to put it up on the mantle there, and you can grab it when you come back to Pittsburgh, because we all know he's coming back to Pittsburgh. Obviously, Kevin Acklin, around that jersey retirement time, was saying, oh, we've reached out. We want to have him with the Penguins in an official capacity of some sort once he's done in Czechia. And if this is it, maybe he's around Pittsburgh, which is only a good thing, right? Because if they're not good, then, hey, at the very least, you have Jagr, which is what it was last year. Those were some of the most memorable moments of the season, which says a lot about the team on the ice. But if they are good, then you get playoffs with Jagr and Lemieux chilling in the suite, celebrating goals from Crosby and Malkin. So either way, it's a win-win for the Penguins if they get Jagr over here more often.
It would be. And even if they don't get him over, let's say he wants to stay in Czechia for just to live, if his playing days are over, European scout. European scout.
Well, that would help. I think there has been few that have seen as much talent as Jagr has over his years.
Exactly. And that's kind of, if they're looking for any sort of official role, because I mean, there's plenty of official roles in the front office that he could take and that he would be worthy of, because he's the one of the few players that could probably take up any role in hockey and succeed, because he's been here for so long. He's probably seen every level of the sport. So it's pretty much up to him what he would want to take, assuming he doesn't want to take Kyle Dubas's job.
Yeah, I think that would be a little bit much, but I think there's one question that remains when we talk about Jaromir Jagr. Obviously, the Emmy Award is a cool story. Obviously, the potential retirement, which we'll talk more about his retirement if and when it happens. And I do say if and when it happens. But the one question that comes is, if and when it does, do you think the Hockey Hall of Fame waives their 3-year waiting period for Jaromir Jagr and inducts him directly after he finishes his playing career?
They absolutely should. There's no doubt that they should. Considering some of the names that they've done it for, you could argue, the longevity has lent a lot to his legend. Considering some of the names, you could argue Jagr's just better, and not just by NHL numbers, but by the numbers he's put up throughout his career, and playing at the international stage on multiple occasions, playing in multiple different professional leagues around the world, and being, for the better part of 20 years, 2 decades almost, at the NHL level, one of the best players in the league. I know that that's where a lot of the focus goes for the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's no doubt in my mind that he deserves that waiting period waived, especially considering he's already kind of been, you don't want to say out of the league, or out of professional hockey, but out of the NHL for how many years already? Essentially count that toward there's your 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you look at his resume, you can stop at saying second all-time in points to Wayne Gretzky, right? You could stop at saying fourth all-time in goals behind Gordie Howe, Wayne Gretzky, and Alex Ovechkin, and just say, all right, well, that guy deserves to be, 1, a first ballot Hall of Famer, and 2, to be in the discussion for waiving that 3-year period. Now, you mentioned his name alongside those other names that the period was waived for. There's actually a list of 10. Now, we went through this list before, and a lot of these names, most people are going to know, even if they are just strictly Penguins fans or new age Penguins fans. You've heard these names before, right? 1947, everybody's heard of Dick Clapper. Everybody's heard of Dick Clapper. So he was the first one that they waived it for. But then going through the rest of the list, obviously, Maurice Rocket Richard in 61, Ted Lindsay in 66, Red Kelly in 69, Terry Sawchuk in 1971. Both Jean Beliveau and Gordie Howe had it waived for them in 1972. Now, Gordie Howe, being a lot similar to Jaromir Jagr, went on to come out of retirement the next year, but I digress to that point. 79, it was Bobby Orr. 1997, it was Mario Lemieux. And 1999, it was Wayne Gretzky. Now, that last one is important for a couple of reasons. And for one, it's important because after Gretzky was inducted in 1999, directly after he retired, the Hockey Hall of Fame Board of Governors eliminated the right from the selection committee to make this exemption and allow people to skip the 3-year waiting period. So, according to the Hockey Hall of Fame, that right doesn't exist. That possibility doesn't exist. But whenever you talk about somebody the stature of Jagr, I think there's a chance they might say, this is the one exception. It would just have to go through the Board of Governors and not simply the selection committee.
Yeah, and looking at the Hockey Hall of Fame website, they say they are keeping that 3-year waiting period mandatory, except under certain humanitarian circumstances. Now, I think we all know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
But, is Jagr being humanitarian enough by continuing to play to keep his team around?
Not only that, I mean, think about what he's done being what's the word I'm looking for? Spokesperson, being a figurehead for hockey in Czechia as a whole, a team that just won the World Championships. A country that has provided us with one of the best goal scorers of this current generation, and David Pastrnak.
Yeah.
Jagr, in large part, paved the way for some of these guys. And that, I think, has a huge effect on hockey. Now, it's not going to go under the one exemption that they have listed on their website, but I think this becomes a much bigger discussion with the board of governors there, which is why I think once he retires, especially if it's after this year, and for the reason that you outlined earlier as well, Horwat, and I agree wholeheartedly, he has been playing for the love of the game. He has not been playing, he's been playing in his hometown team that he owns for the love of the game, just because he loves to play it. I don't think they're going to sit there and say, well, that's professional hockey, so you know what, we're going to ding you, and you're going to have to wait another 3 years. If he does, he does. He's going in 3 years, no matter what. He's first ballot Hall of Famer, irregardless. But I think it should be waived for a guy of his stature. Now, again, will it be waived for anybody else going forward? Perhaps not. But I think the fact is, of all the players in the league now, Jagr is the one playing that predates that ruling. So give it to Jagr. He started his career he started his professional career in 1988 with Kladno back in Czechia. 1990, he started in the NHL. That ruling didn't come down until 99, where he was pretty much done with the Penguins at that time after a couple more years after that. But he had done the bulk majority of his work, we'll say. Hart Trophy, Art Ross's, Stanley Cups. That's where a lot of his hardware comes from. So I think he should be grandfathered in to that ruling, to be completely honest.